What's going on, guys? Welcome to CoinNote's 5-minute crypto show designed for traders. Whether you have work, you missed a day, whatever it is, it's hard to keep up in crypto. So knowing what's going on in the news, knowing the biggest movers, what's happening in the market is always tough to keep up with. I took a little break of doing this show every single day, but I'm excited to bring it back. And I thought, what a better day, as there was some action, a little bit of volatility and some big news that came out. So we're going to be covering all three of those things. We're always going to cover Bitcoin and that price action. Secondly, I want to cover the big news event, and also another news event that I think is going to drive activity later in the week. Thirdly, I want to cover something from someone else in the community. I'm going to highlight someone every single day that I think brings some good information and that you should follow and keep an eye out for their future updates. So I'm going to leave you with a closing thought there. Let's jump into it. We only have 5 minutes here. I want to keep these very clear, short, concise. So let's jump into it. Bitcoin price action over on this screen. All right, so looking at where we are today in terms of Bitcoin price action, in terms of how the market's been moving. If you just missed today, you probably remember Bitcoin outside of this range, which we traded in for so long early in August. We were back in early September. We briefly broke out to 6,700, and now we are back inside this range. You can define it a few different ways. The levels that I have picked out are pretty much the same levels that I've played for the last 2 months. The major kind of range resistance or level that I'm focused on up here, some people label it as 6,600. I'm focused on kind of 6,500, 60. That's really where I see Bitcoin getting stuck in this range and kind of facing that immediate resistance. The second level that I think is very important, you can call this 6K as well, or 5,800. I'm calling it closer to 6,100 or 6,250. This is kind of the higher time frame range support. All I mean by range is there's not a clear trend defined, and price typically bounces back and forth in this range. The third level that I want to watch out for is kind of this mid-range level. I'm calling it a pivot. You can call it whatever you want, but it has acted as support, and that's the level that we just bounced at right here. That's pretty much the 50% level of the range. That's right at 6,350. Right, so prices were plunging in terms of Bitcoin, also in terms of alts. Moves are all still very highly correlated. So as Bitcoin dropped down, so did tons of alts. Zooming in a little bit today, what we just saw this afternoon is as Bitcoin kind of bounced on this mid-range level, around this 6,350 area, we saw a slight relief in alts, and they were able to make kind of that first higher low. My thought process going into this week, while it does look good today, if you're looking at things like Ripple, right, up 22% or something in the last 4 or 8 hours, as long as kind of we're capped by this resistance at 6,500, I'm not too optimistic that alts are going to be able to have kind of an extended run. So as we're in the range, I think there will be a few pops. I think as Bitcoin moves up, alts can as well. And if Bitcoin droops down, I think alts will also suffer. That's kind of how I'm playing it. I'm using Bitcoin as a guide in this range, not only for Bitcoin's movements, but for alts as well. All right, so the one news event I want to cover, second thing on here, is CNBC had Coinbase on for a major announcement. It's really an announcement of an announcement. I think of an announcement. If you actually remember back in July, they announced that they were looking or exploring adding Cardano, BAT, Lumen, Zcash, ZRX, and a few other coins. And now they just came back on CNBC and talked about it again. I even think they talked about this before they even announced this, right? So this is like the third announcement in a row of a plan of an announcement. So really nothing changes here. I think this did inject a little bit of life into crypto. I think maybe there's some hopium in terms of Ripple being added, or hopium in terms of other coins being added. We saw a slight jolt in alts. Like I said, I think most of that's being driven by Bitcoin being able to bounce, but this announcement did line up with the start of some of that volatility. So I think this is the biggest news announcement to pay attention to today, but also keep in mind it's not necessarily new, as they had announced this back in July and they even announced it before that, right? So I think that's one of the biggest news announcements today that you should check out or check on. Link is down below. The third thing I want to cover, I want to leave you guys with a closing thought from someone other than myself, because there's tons of people that put out really good info for traders. Flood, I've had on the podcast, trades a lot on BitMax, trades Bitcoin. He wanted to point out kind of what happened at the end of last quarter in June, and then also kind of what's happening right now. And I have that area marked out on my own chart. That's September 28th or Friday this week. That's when the CME Futures close. So That shouldn't maybe drive a lot of volatility, but you can see back here just a week ago with the CBOE close, it did drive a ton of volatility, and it has in the past as well. So regardless on why it drives the volatility, or if it should or not, or whether or not there's even that much open interest, it's definitely an event to watch out for. That's coming this Friday. So check that out after you check out the Coinbase stuff. I think those are probably the two biggest events that happened today in crypto outside of Bitcoin's price action for you traders. That's what I'm paying attention to. That's what I'm focused on. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick 5-minute sesh. I want to bring you some very quick info, help get you caught up. I'm not going to drag on for 30 minutes. I think sometimes that gets boring, and no one has time for that anyways. So if you did enjoy this, throw a like, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. I think it's over there in that corner. Click that little Bitcoin. So you get updates when I go live tomorrow. Also, I just restructured my free Discord. I had a Telegram of about 10,000 people and moved it over to Discord. So if you were in that and it's not active anymore, the free Discord link is down below. So join, be happy to have you, integrating some of the automated strategies I'm working on there and a lot more Bitcoin updates. So that's where I'm posting this. It's also on my YouTube. It's also on Twitter. Thank you everyone for checking in. I will see you guys tomorrow. I will keep producing these every single day. We took a short break, but I'm back. So enjoy. I'll see you guys tomorrow on CoinNotes. Thanks.